The electric bike industry is very young, and for that reason there's very little in the way of information regarding the reliability of electric bicycles. Even though 7,000 kilometers isn't very much to go on, I thought it might be useful to report on my first 3 seasons with my Bosh Cube Touring electric bike. So here it is. Since I have another electric bike, I was sharing the road between both bikes, which accounts for the low number of kilometers after 3 seasons on this bike. The Bosch electric bicycle system is one of the best in the world. I bought this bike in June 2016 with the intention of bicycle touring and staying in campgrounds at the end of each day of travel. As you can see, it's a step-through design, which makes it easy to mount and dismount. You'll also notice that the tires are fairly smooth, which reduces friction when rolling on asphalt surfaces. It has fenders and mud flaps which keep the rider dry when the road surface is wet. It also has a chain guard which keeps chain grease away from clothing. It has swept-back handlebars which allow for vertical seating and comfortable positioning. It has a sophisticated control liquid crystal display with large easy-to-use buttons for controlling the level of assistance and for scrolling through the different functions. It has hydraulic disc brakes, which is far better than brakes operated with cables. Hydraulic brakes are easier to control, last longer, are safer, and require less maintenance than cable brakes. A discreet sounding single ding bell alerts pedestrians of my coming behind them without scaring them to death. It has reasonably bright front and rear lights. It has a mid-drive motor, the performance line, which provides 63 Newton meters of torque. The advantage of having the motor in the pedal crank is that it allows the bicycle to gear down, giving it very good hill climbing ability, especially since I tow a heavy load. With a mid-drive, it's easier to remove the wheel for repairing a flat tire than with a hub drive. Also, with the weight in the center bottom, the bicycle has better balance. The saddle that came with the bike wasn't very comfortable, so I replaced it with a wide pedago saddle. The saddle is mounted on a suspension seat post, which absorbs some of the road bumps. It came with a 400 watt-hour, 36 volt battery, but I bought a second 400 watt-hour battery, and last year I bought a third battery, this time a 500 watt-hour powerhouse. This combination can give me 100 kilometers of range with my 130-pound trailer and a strong headwind. So far I've only had to make standard maintenance on the bike, such as brakes and chain. I replaced the rear tire recently, but I might have been able to ride another couple of thousand kilometers on it if I hadn't been leaving home for a long trip. I never had a single flat tire. The only issue I've had with the electrical system was the motor quitting on me in mid-ride. The solution was quite simple. All I had to do was to remove the liquid crystal display, rub the terminals on my shirt, and put it back in place. One time the bike let me down in mid-ride because the chain had jumped off the front sprocket. The only way to put it back in place was to remove the chain guard. But that required a 3mm hex wrench, which I didn't have with me. I have since added that to my toolkit. This picture shows that you need to flip the bike upside down to access the hex screw. The reason the chain jumped off in the first place was that the derailleur was out of adjustment and I had knowingly left it in that condition. The moral of the story is, don't ride with an out-of-adjustment derailleur. Riding a bicycle with the Bosch system is very intuitive. The acceleration is smooth and very responsive to the effort that you put into the pedals. If you pedal lightly, it will provide just a little power, and when you increase your effort, the motor increases its contribution. So you get the impression that you're stronger than you've ever been. The big drawback, if ever you get injured or too tired to pedal, is that Bosch steadfastly refuses to provide their bikes with a throttle like the one you see in this picture. Without a throttle, when you want to start moving from a full stop with a heavy trailer in tow, you have to push the bike to get it started. A throttle would make it easier to take off from a dead stop. When I bought this bike, I made the mistake of getting the wrong motor. The performance line is underpowered for the purpose that I'm using it for. To tow a 130-pound trailer in hilly country, I should have bought the most powerful of the 4 Bosch motors, the Performance Line CX, which delivers 75 Newton-meters of torque. All in all, I would say that for the first 7,000 kilometers, the Bosh Cube Touring has served me very well, and there's less probability that it will let me down when I'm on the road, far from any Bosch bicycle dealer, than a China-made system would. If you would like more information about e-bikes and bicycle trailers, or if you'd like to buy one of my books about sailing, see my website www.robertberrio.com. To stay healthy, never quit cycling.